Kenya to lead UN-approved force to Haiti in a bid to rid the country of gang violence. Is this about Pan-Africanism, and how do Kenyans react? Also, WHO approves wider rollout of malaria vaccine being used in Burkina Faso and Ghana. This is Africa Update on Trust TV, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks. Kenya will lead an international force tasked with bringing order back in Haiti, a country where gangs are responsible for a surge in killings, rapes and kidnappings. Kenya has previously proposed sending 1,000 police officers. Countries including Jamaica have also pledged to send personnel. The 15-member UN Council approved Monday the resolution drafted by the US. The Russian Federation and China abstained. The vote came nearly a year after the Haitian Prime Minister and top government officials requested the immediate deployment of a foreign armed force as the authorities struggled to suppress gang violence. Now, Kenyans have expressed divergent views on the Kenyan government's move to deploy the country's police in Haiti.
We have a lot of problems back at home that also needed to be solved. We have insecurity problems in several parts of the country, and we would, as ordinary citizens, would have wanted our government to solve the internal security problems before they jump onto solving problems outside our country, and more so, problems outside the continent of Africa.
It's not a bad idea. It would help with our relations with them. And, well, I hope that something good and something constructive can come out of our government and their government also, you know, having that kind of friendship and having that kind of relation with each other where they can rely on each other and help each other.
That is so proud about Kenyan, because number one, it gives exercise to our army to exercise their power. Number two, it shows how sovereignty we have to show other country the power we have. Number three, it gives us mandate to go and execute our power there, to show people in the other world that this country belongs to God. We are so powerful.
It is a bad idea, because considering our economy right now and we have to facilitate the police to go to Haiti, I think it's quite a bad idea. We should have merged resources as Africa so that we could send a few from each country to Haiti. That would have made sense, but Kenya sending 1,000 police is a bad idea.
The problem, we didn't really, the president have not yet given us the really crucial matter why he's taking the trip to the place. And those people are criminal, because somebody who can kill the president and our people have no experience for it, it needs a very big explanation for the president to give us the place to take our people there. Because maybe when he takes the people there, all things, if they be killed, all of them, then it's a very burden for our Kenya people.
All right, now to discuss this further, I have joining George Abwajo, a public policy and governance expert, who joins me from Kisumu in Kenya. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update, George.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with you this evening.
All right, great. Well, a lot of questions people are asking, and I believe even from people in Kenya, George, is that why does Kenya feel the need to do this? Is this about Africanism or Pan-Africanism and what they call Ubuntu in South Africa?
I think opinion is divided in Kenya currently. The reason why opinion is divided, everyone is asking us, or is asking the president, why Haiti? I mean, Haiti is not the first Pan-Africa country, even right now, with problem of gang violence. So the public are asking us how they're asking the president why Haiti specifically. I think over here, people have seen the president having some close relationship with the Western world, and other people's interest. That is, there is a divided opinion in regards to our participation in Haiti currently. So the public are we becoming students of the Western government, or are we doing this to really push the Ubuntu the Ubuntu unity as we are supposed to push? So the opinion is divided, I think, policymakers, but overall, there is a rallying cry that our parliament, our national assembly, need to discuss this, because there may be financial implications that may be costly to us. And again, people are really fearful of any eventuality in terms of dead bodies that may occur as casualty from Haiti. So the opinion is divided on the ground in Kenya currently. And I think the government should do with a lot more explanation and a lot more fine print as to why our policemen really need to be on the ground.
George, your president, President William Ruto, has been heard over time since he assumed office to be very vocal when it comes to issues of Africanism, issues that has to do with doing away with Western influence in the way Africans, relate and develop and all that. So if you say that he's close to the West, that seems to be a contradiction there.
The closeness, after the general election, our government, headed by the president, there was accusation first from the opposition. Remember that 2 days ago, the opposition came clearly and suggested that they really do not oppose, they really do not support this deployment of our troops. So the closeness, people are saying our president has some sort of dalliance with the Western world, that's Europe and USA. And we may be actually doing their work. That's why we are there. Apparently, from the Kenyans that are in the country, they are asking, in terms of closeness, even in terms of the numbers, the US that's really pushing and has promised some financial assistance is closer to Haiti than Kenya. Why Kenya? So that's the reason why people are saying, is it the closeness of the Western world that now our president or Kenyans are being used to push for either the proxy wars or the proxy assistance to really help the fellow Caribbean country? That's Haiti. Yeah. So that's the angle whereby people are saying our closeness with the Western world, and that's why the Western world is pushing or hastily approved that Kenya leads the peace efforts or the troops to bring law and order in Haiti. That's the angle why they're being said our closeness to them. So we are doing their bidding, especially because he has been a champion of really Pan-African efforts.
See this from the angle of the fact that Haiti is a black nation, the first to be liberated from colonial powers, in the world, and so that's enough reason for Kenya to consider Haitians as brothers.
Yeah, we consider Haitians as brothers. Currently, my personal opinion, they are our brothers. But there are still questions. Haiti has a problem currently. Their history is more of violence and instability, and having some loans that they had to give the French for a very long time, affecting their growth in their country. But the question is, over time, as we could see Africa, there has been problems in Africa internally before you go to Caribbean or Haiti. There has not been response by African leaders or by our president to those countries having problems in Africa, especially having boots in Africa. So it's curiously how fast our country has responded to this, especially after the request by the UN that Kenya leads effort. So that's what's causing all the jittery around it, that yes, they are our brothers. Two is there may be casualties. People are saying our policemen may not possibly properly handle, but people are fearing being possibly an election year next year in USA. Is it that's why USA fears having dead bodies coming back to their country? So Kenya can be, a guinea pig in this. So while I sympathize with the Haitians, we probably need more explanation, especially after saying the breakdown. The truth is, among the delegation that's to Haiti, that amount that the US pledged is not enough. So as it is now, it looks like Kenya is going to use more of our own budget to sustain our soldiers, our policemen in Haiti. It's not a good time to be a Kenya right now. There's high cost of living, and people are basically concluding that possibly it may not be a good time. So there needs to be more explanation. Where is the budget that's going to, how long are we going to be there? And who's going to take the budget up to the last coin? Because there involves life, and there is also the monetary aspect of it.
Okay, George. What is the president expected to do? I'm wondering what the parliamentarians are saying in Kenya right now. Because I know that by virtue of the laws, in some instances such as this, you will need parliamentary approval to deploy security forces outside the country and so on. But I'm wondering what the Kenyan constitution says about scenarios such as this.
I mean, according to our constitution, the presidents can only take unilateral decision when there is war with a neighboring country. We currently do not have war. If, for example, another country would have invaded us, the president would have deployed soldiers or policemen without involving the National Assembly. But then, because there will be financial implication, he or she will be expected to possibly have a supplementary budget, just because he may need to sustain our soldiers in that country. But this is not a situation where we are currently at war. This is a voluntary exercise that we are championing, or we are the lead actors in. So that one shows, it means we really have to take this thing to our parliament so that our representatives can discuss. The reason why this is more being insisted is that I think in the past, for the past 10 years, we are having a history by our government signing contracts or deals with other nations, multilateral or bilateral agreements that we Kenyans do not know the fine prints. Just early this year, the government signed a government-to-government oil deal with the promise that the currency or the Kenyan shilling, this deal is going to help the Kenyan shilling to strengthen by virtue of the demand for dollars is now going to reduce. Instead, after 6 months, the currency has instead weakened to 150 shillings per dollar. This is just one example that without full disclosure of the happenings, because our government is fond of having these agreements. I mean, we had an SGR, standard gauge railway, with the Chinese, and the implications for defaulting is that our port was going to be held or as a collateral for that. So that's the reason why this has to be debated. And I support the reason why, because we're going to debate every fine print that is related to these agreements shall be tabled to the parliament and to the Foreign Affairs and Security Committee that may be shared to the public ourselves. And because we, one way or the other, we have relatives in the police force, we are interested parties. I mean, police force come from our families. So we are interested parties. And that's why we need to, the government needs to take it to MPs. There will also be financial implications at this stage. I am very sure. It's only parliament that's going to give a tick or a go-ahead for this initiative to proceed. And that's why President Ruto really needs to take it to assembly so that we may know the pros and cons, fully aware that this is going to take place. And let's get prepared that we discuss this and we give a go-ahead with these certain consequences and actions.
George, I have listened to some analysts in Kenya who say that there is no express provision by law as regards the police in Kenya when you're deploying outside the country. It only has to do with the armed forces, the military in Kenya. So in this respect then, how does the Kenyan people act?
In terms of police forces, yes, it's true, the law is silent. But rarely in our history have we deployed policemen in the first place. So that's why the law may have been silent. I mean, it's going to be the first time. We have been deploying soldiers in our history, in our country history, since time memorial. That is. So, hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, so rarely have we deployed the policemen. So, but because this is an issue that involves life, and like I said, there is a financial component to this. Parliament really has to give the president a go-ahead. He may commit as our president. He may commit. And personally, I don't have a problem taking soldiers to Haiti. But let's understand everything and let everything be good to that. And it would also be good to him as a measure of goodwill that he wants the support of all Kenyans in any initiative or undertaking that he's doing. And by taking it to the parliament, we would be giving him that goodwill to take to the Kenyan. But like I said, it's not all gloom. I mean, for the last 1 year, our president has come out as a leading Pan-Africanist. And it has positioned Kenya globally. So it's not all gloom. I think while personally I may not really want, I may want this to go on. Kenya's place in the history of the world or in the place of the world diplomatic, I think has been cemented and positioned, and it's a good place to be.
Okay. George, are you confident about the steps that are set to be going to be taken to prepare the Kenyan police in this mission? So, for instance, we heard that they are going to be trained in the language of Kenyans, which partly is the French language. So, on one breath, we've heard civil society organizations raise concern as regards the language barrier. Again, also others have raised concerns about the terrain blindness, given that the Kenyan police may not be familiar with the terrain there. And there are also speculations about some of the gang members collaborating or conspiring with the police in Haiti. So with all this, do you think that this could backfire?
I think it's more of the reason why I'm thinking they're taking even the police in the first place and not the soldiers is so that the people can see that we are not going to go for war. Initially, there were fears that if we handle it wrongly, the gangs may may unite so that they first chase away the Kenyan troops to the country. But I think the policemen have the softer way, and we expect that to bring more of law and order and not to do more of arrests or jailing of people and handling people wrongly. And
sophisticated.
Because unlike the army, our army, normally when we recruit or Kenyan recruits the general service army, the personnel, they enrich them. It's almost mandatory that our army personnel have to go back to college to specialize in a field. So you may find that US were employed as a general service unit in the army to carry the guns, but majority of them are either soldiers, they have specialized in one skill or the other when they join in the first 5 years. The same thing does not happen to the police. The police, I mean, it's basically optional to go back to school. Yes, you can go back to school in university. So it's optional. So I really doubt if majority of them could or are taking any French courses or have taken any French courses before. And so that may affect. So they need to be more some specialist training.
Yes, so I said, can the Kenyan police really match the firepower of the gangs in Haiti, who we learned are very sophisticated in terms of weapons?
I think it's possible. Personally, I believe that this mission is possible. I know in the Haitians, I know they really want calmness in their country. Yes, the gangs may be there. I know deep inside them, they want some order. And they may have reached a place where I think they are tired after their history. You may tire the politics and the politicians. And it means if handled well, especially in terms of engagement, it is very possible. Because I would imagine the first thing is to create some police service of kind. They may join or bring together the gangs and have a discussion. Like, how would we sustain them in the short run? So how can you cross over to provide security to the country in the first place? And therefore, it's possible. I believe it's not an improbable mountain to climb. I mean, it's possible to me. It's very much possible.
So, in essence, you support this move by the government to deploy the police in Haiti?
I support. As George, I think I support the move to, but with some conditions. That is the fine prints discussion. We really need to know the fine print. Secondly, check the best personnel. And thirdly, let us be assured by our backers. Let us not dip so much into our own revenue. Let us be supported. And let us deploy, even if it means our president going there and trying to really convince the top gang members so that they can sit down. I think for the benefit of their country, I think it's very much possible to do that. I personally support. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, George Abwajo, public policy and governance expert. We appreciate you joining us on Africa Update today. We look forward to engaging with you subsequently.
I so much appreciate. Greetings to Nigerians and Africa from Kenya.
Bye. Yeah. All right, you're watching Africa Update on Trust TV. After the break, WHO approves wider rollout of malaria vaccine being used in Burkina Faso and Ghana. Join us again for more.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not about you.
I'm coming. Let me finish.
Well, there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago, you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Watching Africa Update, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. The World Health Organization, WHO, on Monday approved a wider rollout of a second malaria vaccine that was developed by Britain's Oxford University and Serum Institute of India. The vaccine is already in use in Ghana and Burkina Faso, with expectations of a quick rollout across Africa in the coming months.
A new malaria vaccine known as R21 was developed by Britain's Oxford University along with the Serum Institute of India. It is already in use in Ghana and Burkina Faso. The World Health Organization approved the drug Monday, paving the way for its wider rollout.
In areas with seasonal transmission, it reduced symptomatic cases of malaria by 75% in the 12 months following a 3-dose series of the vaccine. A 4th dose given a year after the 3rd was shown to maintain protection.
The WHO approved the first ever malaria vaccine in 2021, known as RTSS.
As a malaria researcher, I used to dream of the day when we would have a safe and effective vaccine against malaria. Now we have two.
The WHO says there is little difference in effectiveness between the two vaccines, but the new R21 vaccine is cheaper to make at around $2 to $4 a dose, with each patient needing 4 doses, about half the price of RTSS. The new vaccine can also be made in much greater volumes. The Serum Institute of India is already in line to make 100 million doses a year, with plans to double that output. Experts warn that it won't beat malaria on its own, and that other preventative measures are needed, including mosquito nets.
So this additional efficacy of the vaccine is in the presence of this really important intervention. The second is something known as chemoprevention. That's providing drugs to children at high-risk areas where malaria is particularly seasonal.
There were an estimated 247 million cases of malaria in 2021, a small increase on the previous year, and 619,000 deaths, mostly children, in sub-Saharan Africa.
We do hope that by introducing this new vaccine, we can really make a dent in this and get us back on track to the goals which were set by the WHO to reduce malaria by 90% by 2030.
The WHO also approved a new vaccine Monday against dengue fever, another mosquito-borne disease common in tropical Latin American and Asian countries. The drug, made by the Japanese firm Takeda, was about 84% effective in preventing people from being hospitalized in clinical trials. Henry Richwell, VOA News, London.
And that wraps up Africa Update for this week. In case you've missed, you can always catch up across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.